Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going through our seeds. Now more specifically our herbs and our vegetable seeds that we are going to be planting for our 2022 garden. Some of the varieties were ones that we planted last year, while some of them are going to be new to us. And I wanted to kind of go through to hopefully inspire you to maybe try some of these varieties in your own garden, or to kind of just explain what we are able to plant in our zone. Now, if you're new here, I am in Kingston, Ontario. I live on a 1/4 acre lot here with my husband, and we've been planting for approximately 2 years, so this is going into our 3rd year. We do both garden beds in our backyard as well as our front yard, and we have a good mixture of in-ground as well as raised garden beds. Now, our garden season is quickly approaching. We're approximately in zone 5A or 5B, depending on what you reference. Some may even say we're in zone 6, but a lot of these varieties will span over all of those zones. So hopefully if you're a little bit more north or a little bit more south than us, these varieties would work for you as well. So without further ado, we have a lot to get through, so let's get into the video. So I did realize in the seed haul video we did for you explaining the flower varieties, I focused more on the suppliers than I did on where we actually source these seeds. So I did want to clarify a little bit. Seeds are really accessible in my city. We can get them at our superstores like Walmart. We can get them at grocery stores like Metro, Loblaws, No Frills. We can get them at our local hardware stores. So that includes Lowe's, Canadian Tire, Home Depot, Lee Valley. So for us, seeds are definitely something that we can come by pretty easily. But some of these varieties I did order online. So if you are in an area that maybe doesn't have a lot of those resources with the stores, don't forget that there are a lot of companies you can order direct from. Places like the Ontario Seed Company, MI Gardener, Vessie's, all of those things, they do support Canadian farmers and homesteaders. So there are lots of options available to you. So I won't go into details with these in this specific video because I want to focus more on the groupings and what varieties we have within those different groupings. So to start off, we have our onion seeds. Now, 2 of these varieties we tried last year. One of them is new and one of them is just a green onion. So we did realize that green onions aren't necessarily something we enjoy planting because our onions over here actually provide us with green tops. So this is not going to be something we'll probably plant this year, although we might try this in some pots for inside in our kitchen for easy accessible green tops. But with that being said, we have 3 varieties of bulbing onions. So we have these candy hybrids, which are going to be the newest ones for us this year. Then we have our sweet Utahs. And then we have our red globe. A very simple category for us this year are going to be our peas. We actually only have 1 variety so far for our peas, which are these super snap peas. We actually realized last year that we quite love peas, but we didn't plant them to the best of their ability. We focused mainly on pots, and throughout this season, we found that they dwindled quite a bit. When it was later in the season, we ended up planting them in a garden bed, and they took off really strongly. So this year, we're definitely going to be putting these in our garden beds, so they have lots of nutrients. They're pretty heavy feeders, so we're looking forward to getting a bigger harvest of them this year. Similar to the peas, we actually found out that we quite enjoy beans. And now beans, there's 2 different varieties. You can have your trellising style beans or you can have your bush beans. We realized that we quite enjoy the bush bean varieties, and more specifically, purple ones. So on our hunt to find what purple ones we like, we actually grabbed 3 different varieties. We grabbed these velour dwarf French beans. We grabbed what we know are our favorite, which are these amethyst bush beans. And then we actually got this tricolor mix. So this tricolor mix has both your yellow, your green, and your purple. So pretty excited about that. And you're probably wondering, how can you tell the difference? When you open them up, one falls. But you can actually see the different color there, and that will tell you what bean you get. So although it's a mixed variety, I love beans for the fact that you can tell what they are. Next up, we have our corn varieties. Now, if you were following along last year, you'll know that I was obsessed with this gem glass corn. Not only did we save the seed from our own corn that we grew, but I did grab another package just in case I haven't quite yet got seed saving down. But there are 3 new varieties that we're really excited to try. This one is an early Sunglow corn. This one is an ornamental, which is an Indian corn. And this one is one of my personal favorites, peaches and cream. Now I'm really, really excited to get some fresh sweet corn this year. My dad is obsessed with it, so I know he's also looking forward to this one and coming over for dinner. Next up is going to be carrots. We didn't purchase any new seeds because we found that we overgrew carrots last year and we did have some leftover. So we have these tender sweet. Sorry about the glare from my light there, guys. And then we have a rainbow mix. I absolutely love this rainbow mix, especially, again, the purple ones. I'm not sure what it is about purple vegetables, but they taste so delicious. Similar to the carrots, lettuce was not something we repurchased for this year. We actually got quite a few varieties last year, and well, the seeds go really, really far. So if you pay attention to your succession planting, which we did, we actually realized we didn't even use whole packages of these seeds. So coming up again, we have this ruby lettuce. We have the butter crunch, which is so delicious and crunchy. We have romaine, which was our best producing lettuce last year. We have 2 different types of tangle leaf. We have the regular green and we have this purple. Again, I loved the purple. I think it added a great color into our salads. And then we also have this black seeded Simpson. Of course, our salads would not be complete without having spinach. Again, these are varieties we have left over from last year. So we have this spinach that doesn't have a variety name. We have this long-standing Bloomsdale. And then we have an Olympic hybrid. One leafy green that I did not plant very well last year was Swiss chard. Now, I tried an entire package of, I believe it was a giant, to be honest, I can't remember the name of it. But this one is the bright light variety, and I love the different colors it leads. So I'm gonna try my hand at this again for this year because mine got decimated by pests. So really excited to give it another go this year. To the Swiss chard, kale was something I didn't grow the best of last year. Now kale is something that we can do even into our cold, kind of snowy months. So this is something I'm looking forward to planting throughout the garden. So hopefully we can have more of a harvest next year. The harvest that I did get, I made into kale chips and they were so good. This variety is the dwarf curled Scotch, which I quite liked for the chips because it was really, really ruffly and it had a really nice crunch once you baked them. So looking very forward to having more of that this year. And then I have a couple other kind of leafy greens. Now, all of these are going to be new to us for this coming year, and they are arugula, which is apparently actually a herb and not considered a green, but well, we're gonna try it. Then we also have endive, which is typically used sometimes as a garnish, but it is delicious in salads and has a really interesting flavor. And then we're also trying our hand at mustard. We're hoping that this one might even go to seed and we'll be able to make our own grainy mustard, but if not, we'll definitely have the leafy greens to be able to eat. Similar to the leafy greens, we have microgreens to give a try too. Now these microgreens are varieties that you plant in soil, and you can tell because they're coated in this kind of casing. So you don't want to be putting these in like a sprouting jar or anything like that. But we have a mild mix and then we have a hot mix. So those are definitely going to be something that we start out kind of earlier and see if we can get some quick microgreens for salads, sandwiches, that sort of thing. But I did grab a couple packages of seeds that you can actually do in jars. So it was really cool to do this last year. So I grabbed a couple more, and they're alfalfa, and just these ones, which are a typical sandwich booster. So they have a mix of different things in them. These are really exciting to get started if you're itching to go and get into the garden because, well, These ones at least you can do inside. I've heard some people doing the trade soil versions inside as well, but I'm going to do these outside on our deck. Speaking of itching to get out in the garden, there are a couple varieties that you can actually plant a little bit earlier in our climate, and that's our cold hardy root vegetables. So last year we were able to plant our beets, our radishes, and our turnip a little bit earlier than what typically goes in the ground in June. We were planting by the 1st of May. So that was something really exciting for us and something we're going to be trying again this year and see if it does just as well. So those varieties are our turnips. We have two different kinds. We have our purple top white globe, and then we have a new variety, which is our golden ball turnip. For beets, we have quite a few left over from last year. The ones that we decided to plant were these Detroit dark red ones. These early wonder tops. These are kind of a smaller beet. They don't get as massive as some of the other varieties. Cylindra. And then we also have the Kyogia Guardsmark. Thanks coloring my way. I didn't know how to pronounce this one before, and she left a comment. So that's why I love getting feedback from you guys, is you know a little bit more than I do. And finally, within those crops, we also have all of these types of radishes, again, left over from last year because a little goes a long way. So we have the cherryettas. We have these awesome ones, which are white icicle. Losing my seed packages here. We have sparklers. These were a personal favorite of mine. They have like this white kind of bottom to them, and they just grew really, really well for us. These ones are a very popular variety. They're a French breakfast. An Easter egg blend, a barking dog, and a German giant radish. Other varieties that you can plant a little bit earlier in our climate, and that's the Brassica family. So Brassicas are inclusive of your cauliflower, your broccolis, your cabbages, your Brussels sprouts, as well as, well, actually I'm not too sure if kohlrabi are included, but I include them in our Brassica bed. So the varieties that we have this year are these purple Viennas, white Viennas, and now these are kohlrabi. If you haven't tried these alien looking vegetables, I highly, highly recommend it. They are delicious. They're really, really good roasted, and they're kind of similar to a potato in the sense of being a little bit starchier and solid, but they kind of have that nice crisp kind of cabbage flavor as well. So highly recommend trying those ones out. This one I'm excited to try again. These are Brussels sprouts. So this variety is the Long Island, and it does say improved. I'm not sure what's improved about them because quite honestly, I didn't get a single Brussels sprout last year. This was something I didn't plant at the right time, and brassicas are a little bit finnier about like their timing, their spacing, their nutrients, that sort of thing. So excited to try it again because last year was a flop. Broccoli, again, is something that I flopped on last year and I'm looking to redo. This is the Desico brand variety, and looking forward to seeing if we can get some broccoli this year because it's something we definitely missed out on last year. Something we did do well, a little bit, we got 1.5 heads of them, are cauliflower. So we have two different varieties, which last year I actually thought these were the same variety, so I only planted one. But then I actually read the seed package and I realized that they are different. So this one is the cauliflower, the early snowball, where this one, it actually says super snowball. So I was actually commenting in our previous harvest video that it was smaller than your typical head that you would get at a grocery store. And I think that's because this is a smaller variety and this one is the larger variety I'm used to. So I'm excited to plant both of these this year and see what the difference is and if I'm right on my suspicions. But the cool thing about these ones is they're actually self-blanching. So you'll see up here where they say self-blanching. So what that actually means is you don't have to cover up the head and keep it contained for it to churn white. These will already churn white even if they're open and exposed to the sun. If you don't know what I mean by that, I'll be doing a video for you guys explaining more in depth about how to grow cauliflower, because as I mentioned, it was something that I did do well last year, so I'm looking forward to sharing that knowledge with you. Last year, we grew peppers really, really well. My only complaint is originally when we were planting, I used this. So this is actually a hot pepper mix. And my problem with this is since each one of the seeds is coated, you don't actually know which seed is what. So that was something to keep in mind if you're looking for specific varieties, because, well, we got a lot of one kind, only a few of another, and it was hard to even see which were what, because this photo, it does not give a true representation of what we grew. I found myself Googling online trying to figure out varieties, and there was one pepper. I honestly still don't know what variety it was. I got mixed reviews when I used different apps to scan in the pepper, and also different opinions when I asked people what pepper they were. So this year, I decided to actually focus on specific varieties. So of course, can't have a garden without jalapenos, so we are doing those. We have these Big Jim hot peppers. We have habanero peppers. We like spice in this family. These ones are more of a sweet pepper. They're Corno de Toro. We have a sweet banana pepper. And of course, we have a California Wonder. This is a bell pepper. The cool thing about bell peppers too is they actually will start off green and they churn colors over time. So pretty exciting to learn that, because this picture can sometimes be a bit deceiving, because if you leave them long enough, they will switch. I think every gardener can agree that you have to have a tomato plant. And in our case, you have to have 500 different varieties of tomato plants. We are obsessed with tomatoes. We use them from anything from salsas to tomato sauces to pizza sauce, and just having the different varieties and the different flavors is something that we quite enjoyed. My husband is a huge snacker when it comes to cherry tomatoes. He pretty much doesn't let any of them get back to our kitchen, where I am more of a slicer tomato kind of person. I like them in salads, I like them on sandwiches, so we definitely differ there, which means we get lots of different varieties. So we'll start off first with the cherry tomatoes and then kind of move upwards to getting to the larger tomatoes. So some of these are left over from last year, like our Sweet Millions. They were delicious. Black cherry tomatoes. This one is a new one. This is a tumbler hybrid. This was suggested to us, and well, you can tell with the price of the seed pack, it's a pretty popular one. This one is the Sun Gold. We got some large red cherry tomatoes. This is for more of our cold salads, because we like to dice them up but not have a huge salad with all of the innards with the seeds and the moisture. We got some different color ones. This is a yellow plum tomato. We have Mariglobe tomato. This is going to be new for us. This one I'm excited for, and also going to be new for us. This is the Kellogg's Breakfast. I heard these ones get massive, so really looking forward to seeing what kind of size tomatoes we can get. We have your classic Romas, which are great for all of your sauces. We have this Floriday tomato. And then of course, my personal favorite, a beefsteak. Next up, we have our pumpkin varieties. Now, if you followed along last year, you'll know that we got quite a few pumpkins. We got a lot of these Jack Be Littles, which I purchased another package because I just loved having them around. We also purchased a new one, which is this Connecticut Field Pumpkin. We're hoping these ones are closer to like your jack-o'-lantern pumpkins that you can carve for Halloween. And then I have one seed left of this State Fair winner. Now, last year he got eaten, and one of his seeds got eaten, and then the second plant succumbed to the vine borer. So looking forward to trying again this year with the tips and tricks that I was given. So you'll have to follow us to see if we can grow a giant pumpkin this year. Similar to our pumpkins, we also had some squashes last year, but they didn't do as well as they should have. So we're gonna take more measures, like having patience and not pulling out half of the plants, and then also some protective measures for the pest damage that we received. That's because we have this acorn squash, which I didn't get any of last year, and I was really disappointed. This is my favorite edible squash, and I was looking really forward to it. It was going really well until I got impatient, and then the pests took care of the rest that I had left in the garden. So looking forward to trying that again. But we also grabbed a gourd mix, which is more of an ornamental, just because I had purchased one prior and it actually must have been a seed pack that had reproduced with another plant, because I got pumpkins. I didn't get squashes. So hopefully we'll get some warty, kind of cool looking ones this year. And if not, I'm done. Considered a squash as well. I do have these separate because these are more of a summer squash. So this is the zucchini, and we have two different varieties. Last year we did the dark green ones, but this year I wanted something a bit different, so we grabbed these golden ones as well. Next up, we have our cucumber varieties. If you watched our video of us planting our garden, you would have heard that we planted way too much last year, and that's true. Even these seeds are mostly left over from last year, although we didn't get all of the varieties we planted. One of them was an Armenian cucumber, which is a massive, massive cucumber. And I'm looking forward to trying these again this year. I just think I planted them a little bit too late in the season, but they're a kind of a fresher slicer variety. And the cool thing is you don't have to de-skin them. The skin is really, really fine, so you can just crunch right through them. We got straight 8s, which we had last year. And then we have these two, which are more of a pickling cucumber. So we have these patio snacker hybrids. And then we also have the Chicago pickling variety. Last but certainly not least, we have our collection of herbs. Now, some of these we won't be planting because they are perennial and come back, and we already have them in our garden. But of course, I still have the seeds just in case anything goes wrong with them, or if we feel the need to replant them. So we have two different types of chives. We have just like your standard kind of oniony chive, as well as a garlic chive. We have Thai basil. We have oregano. We have dill, which we'll be planting a ton of so we can get the swallowtail butterflies back again. We have some thyme. We have some parsley. We have some lemon balm. And while it's not a herb, I just had this stuck with my herb section. These are ground cherries, and I won't be planting these. We did try some from a farmer's market, and I did not like the flavor of them. And I heard that they can get pretty sprawly and hard to get rid of. So although we had purchased these without having that knowledge prior, we have it now. So that's going to be something we probably skip on. So that's it, folks. That's all of the seed varieties that we do have for our 2022 garden. We are looking forward to trying a couple new things. We're looking forward to hopefully preventing some things that happened to our vegetables last year. And if you have any varieties that you absolutely love, please leave them in the comments below. We're always looking to try new things, because one thing with gardening we realize is there is so much variety out there, so many hybrids, so many cultivated strains of different vegetables, and each one has their own characteristics that make them great. So please leave below what you're most interested in planting in your garden, or if any of these varieties inspired you to add them to your repertoire. So hopefully you've enjoyed this video. There's lots more garden content coming your way, because we're just getting into the season for 2022. So hopefully you guys like and subscribe and follow along on our journey. Thanks, and we'll see you shortly.